Coach David Buchanan. Coach Chuck Smith. Two legendary high school football coaches. This is the Coach's Office, a behind-the-scenes look at Kentucky high school football.
Welcome to the Coach's Office, behind the scenes with Chuck Smith and David Buchanan. This is season 4, episode 11, 11 weeks into this thing. I'm Chuck Smith. I'm joined by co-host David Buchanan, our podcast editor, storyteller Mike Holcomb. Your YouTube version of this podcast is at TCOP, T.C.O.P. And if you would hit like and subscribe, we sure would appreciate it. We got another great show with an excellent guest coach tonight. We have William Blair, the head football coach of Madison Central High School, to discuss his football team. You know, talk about being able to drop some names with your coaching tree. Goodness sakes. He's worked with 3 Hall of Fame coaches, okay? 3 Hall of Fame coaches, and it's quite a coaching tree to be able to, to tell people. And I guess when he turns that resume in, he don't have any trouble getting people's attention here in Kentucky. But we'll bring William on in just a second. Our tough topic is from Bluegrass Preps Bruin 66. And guys going both ways. How do you set up practice through the week? Well, I know I should be an expert on that because I've always had, and I know David has too, we've never had the luxury of, having been able to platoon the team. So anyway, we'll get to that in just a second. Games of the week, we got Bowling Green and Franklin County. Well, that's going to be a good one. Sayre and Middlesboro. And Larry French is in there. And that'll be a good football game. A little bit about William before we bring him on. Okay, as I said, he's the head football coach of Madison Central High School. He's currently got his team 6-3. This is his 3rd season as the head football coach. He made it to the 2nd round in 2023, and he made it to the 3rd round in 2024. 2011 was Williams' first head football coaching job. He was the head football coach of Trimble County for 1 season there. Very young coach. He was there at a very young age. He only stayed 1 season. And in 2012 and 2013, he was an assistant at Boyle County for Larry French. And then when Larry left and went to Southwestern High School, William went with him from 2014 to 2018. He's also coached with Tom Larkey, who he played for. And then the hidden gem there was Tony Saylor. Tony Saylor was on that staff with Coach Larkey. And that's his first Hall of Fame guy that he's coached with. And then in 2021 and 2022, he coached with Mike Holcomb. And Mike Holcomb was the head football coach of Madison Central. And then, of course, he coached with Larry, who's going to be a Hall of Famer, and at Boyle. And then Mike Holcomb, who's going to be a Hall of Famer from Breathitt. And then, but he coached with, William coached with him when he was at Madison Central. So 3 Hall of Fame guys on his resume. Pretty good resume. David, you want to bring William on?
Yeah, I am. I'm excited to have him. And, another mutual connection. My son-in-law was playing at Boyle when William was coaching there. And he's told me by Josiah Robbins, he said he'd stand next to Coach Blair and that William would call the plays of the other team when they broke the huddle. Like by the time they got to the ball, and he said it was crazy because it's like he was always right. He knew the plays. So, hey, Coach Blair's very intelligent. And he's one of those guys that I think he's got some unorthodox approaches that are really helping him to be successful. So I know he's not going to share all of them, but maybe we can push him a little bit on these tip-offs, and maybe he can say something to help our coaches out. So, Chuck, I'll I'll turn it over to you. But William, thanks for joining us tonight. We're glad to have you.
I'm tickled to death to be here. This is awesome. You talk about two Hall of Fame coaches I'm get to sit and spend the evening with. This is pretty cool.
Well, we appreciate you being on, William. My first question for you is, Madison Central was not your first head coaching job. And most people might think it is, but it wasn't. Trimble County was. And what did you learn from that experience? I know you probably wasn't even 30 years old, was you, when you took over that Trimble County job?
No, I was 28. 28. It was a situation. I just started teaching when I was 25, and my wife was at grad school in Louisville, so I was up there. Back then in the 2000s, it was hard to find jobs. You had to go and
it was.
It's not like today. Throw a rock and you can find a teaching job now. But got up to Trimble County, and there was a guy named Mike Jenton from Lincoln County. He was a really good football, and he hired me on to teach middle school with the caveat, you got to coach my middle school team. So back in those, I don't think many teachers are told that these days. Well, if you want the teaching job here, you got to coach too. And but so there was only 50 boys in the 8th grade, and I had 30 of them playing football. And the next year, the coach left and took another job, and the high school job opened. But they only had 6 boys returning, and so all the middle school kids were like, "Come coach up there." So that was I was kind of like, all right, because otherwise the program would have fell in. And Trimble's been one of those programs that's in and out, and it's a good place, wonderful place. But I got really humbled. I got up there. I said they handed me 2 footballs, 2 Insta-Flat cans, and a thing of wasp spray. And I looked. I said, 2 footballs? I said, what are these cans for? Well, you got to roll the goalpost onto the field. So it was the baseball field, and there was a farmer next door. He let us play on part of the farm field, so you had to roll the goalpost up and fill the tires up, roll it, and get rid of all the wasp. And that was, you measured your field out. So coming from Rockcastle, which great program, and being there working with them, even at a time down at Clay County as a defensive coordinator, all the facilities. So I got humbled real quick with that. But then. But I tell you what, when you play really competitive football, it's kids they want to win, they want to do hard. In the weight room, they want to do, they really want to develop. And at Trimble County, these kids just truly played the game because they just loved football. They didn't have any ambitions of playing any more football outside of high school. And so I kind of learned to enjoy it. But the competitive side of me, I was like, well, my wife got done grad school, and the job opened up. A freshman head coaching job opened up at Boyle County, and I sent every email. I called it. I got Tony Saylor to give Chris Mason a call, and I was down there.
Well, and I know they were thrilled to get you.
Good story.
That is a good story.
So we had that freshman we won 2 ball games. I had 28 freshmen and 3 seniors and 2 sophomores and 1 junior, and we still won 2 ball. So,
pretty good.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. Hey, so, William, you're the best tip-off coach I've ever met. Tell our listeners, what are tip-offs? Why are they important? And, look, I know you're not going to give up all your secrets, and that's cool, but is there one thing you could tell us that would make a coach better at getting tip-offs from their opponent? So I know that's 3 parts. What is it? Why are they important? And then give us one thing that, if a coach is listening, he can get better at tip-offs. Go ahead.
So a tip-off is, knowing what play or who's getting the ball, what the other team's getting ready to do. Understanding, this is a pass play or is it going to be a run play? And there'll be something that you can see. And there's basically 2 or 3 ways that I've done it. Is one, just looking at the kids out there, their body language. The old adage, if they put their hand down and you see the white of their knuckles, well, they all wear gloves now, so that one's out of the door. So, but it's really, with these offenses and things that people have today, you really have to look at the personnel and formation even more. And so that's the 2 big ways of seeing, that what are they doing, what's their scheme. And, the process of elimination, well, they can't run this play because the wing is over here and the back is on the same side. So you can mark out that play and so forth. But for me, when it gets to the nitty gritty of some things, I'll give an example. I'll give an example, 2 examples. They're quarterbacks' feet. Looking at quarterbacks' feet, they can tell a lot. So I look a lot about the quarterback's feet, and then where how they're positioning their feet, what type of offense are they in? If they're pushing their left foot back, that means they got to turn and get out left to right, under center, and then shotgun. Are they got their left foot up or right foot up? So they don't get in the way of the ball carrier or something like that. And then one of the other things is advice for all these coaches is Huddle may blackball me or something. I don't like huddle assist where they break all your stuff down for you. To me, that was what I did on film with Coach Saylor. I scouted for 3 years. I didn't coach a high school football game for 3 years, but I was a coach. And I'd watch film. I'd break everything down, first, second down, formations, and so forth. A lot of coaches, that's just too much time, so they pay for the huddle assist, and then they do the snap detect, and they don't watch them break from the huddle. They just wait for them to get on the ball and snap. I said, you're missing all kinds of stuff. So I've got some young guys on staff. I go, don't use the snap detect. Watch them break the huddle. What do you mean by that? And so here's 2 examples of why you need to watch the ball when they break the huddle. There's a coach out there. He may be retired. I'm not sure. I'm not going to give who it is. He was notorious when I'd scout. He would call a play to the quarterback, and then he would go down past the first down marker about 5 or 6 yards. And I noticed, well, it's because he would throw the ball over and try to get pass interference. Every other time he'd just stay behind. So
that's awesome.
That's how you knew they were throwing the ball. And then this one was years ago. I think I was at Trimble on this one. There was a kid, when he'd break the huddle, he'd double tap his chest and point up to the air. Well, he'd get the ball. And these kids are just so quirky about that. You can see all kinds of things. It's just their mannerisms, their body language. If a wide receiver is huffing and puffing, and he's rolling his shoulders coming out of the huddle, like, oh, we're not throwing the ball, that type of stuff. But going back to where I got all those was, from Tony Saylor. We would watch film, and he was awesome to watch film with, and he send a scout out, and I would do it by myself for years. And my girlfriend, my wife now, would go with me, and she'd just be bored out of her mind. This is before you could sit on cell phone. She actually had to sit there. So I'd have to give her a job. That was our date night for. I knew she was a keeper. I knew she was a keeper when I went to Matewan, West Virginia, and she went with me to watch a ball game. I think we were watching like Green Up or somebody in Matewan.
Yeah.
But adamant about that, and so even today, when I watch a play, and I work with my younger coaches, and they're like, "What are you looking for?" I'm looking for something that's not supposed to be there. That's the tip off for me is what do they do, and what is not the same. Like, why is that guy moved here? Why is that stance different? Those type of things. So, but I really do. My biggest advice is don't rely on somebody else to break your film down. If you want to be good at that, you want to be a good tip off, don't use the huddle assist and don't do snap detect. Watch it from the very beginning, from the time the coach calls it in to whenever.
Yeah.
So
that's going to take a lot of time. So a lot of people aren't going to do that. You know what?
Well, I tell you what, they wouldn't drive the Burger Boy down in London to sit and meet with 5 different coaches to get film. I sat down there, coach give me $40, gas money, and then I'd sit there and I'd eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, waiting all these coaches to get there. They wrapped up, and I'd have them sitting there.
That's awesome.
It's even worse. Complaint. Didn't know who was coming. You're like, oh well.
Yeah. Hey, well, let's move over to offense, William. Tell us about your offense and what was the thought process in selecting that offense. I know when Mike was there, y'all were spread throw it everywhere. Now you've kind of gone to do you call it the flex bone?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was the process of coming up with that and tell us about that.
So the one thing about working and having a program is you got to look down the line. You got to look at the 5th, 6th grade. And so I had 3 feeder middle schools coming in. So with Coach Holcomb being there 2 years, I invested a lot of time being down there and seeing the type of players we could possibly have. And we just didn't have a big enough size coming up and necessarily wide receiver players. Like we had a bunch of running backs coming up. And my concern is we're in that district with Douglas and Station. And I sat there and I hired Tyler Mack to come in because he's a great offensive mind guy. Me and him talked a lot about it, and it was difficult because now you're going athlete for athlete year in year out, and Douglas is just they're just Douglas. They've always got that one guy that's just a little bit better than yours. So offensively, what I wanted to do was we had a really smart quarterback coming up with Carson Hurst. He's really tough. He's a wrestler. And we had a bunch of running backs. And so Coach Sam Hart, talked about being actually on a podcast about 3 years ago, I think. One of y'all's the podcast said, you got to do something different. And, I wanted to be different. And I talked to my principal. I said, you're going to hear about, we're not going to throw the ball, this and that. We're not going to play an offense that you see on Saturdays and Sundays unless you go to one of the academies. And for us, it has allowed us to really control the game by being able to take away the one-on-one matchups. In that now your best player is a defensive end. Well, we can't block him. And if we double team him, your linebacker is going to kill us. So what we've decided is we're not going to block him. We're going to read him. And Aaron Stepp is really a great offensive mind coach. And he lives down in Berea. And he came up and me and him sat and talked for a little bit. And he's kind of walked us through on how to do it. And then our university, the D2 school down in Sayre, Arkansas, if you get to watch them, if you're a true football coach, you just love it because it's so technical. It's so much technique. You're just not relying on pure athleticism. I mean, those guys, and it's physical. You got to be physical. You got to be tough. You got to have that discipline. And for us, that all those things check the box. Corey Chapman does our weight room. He's does a great job. He does the defense, and we're trying to build a program based on toughness and discipline. Well, getting in the flex bone and the wing T type style offense goes right with that. And the same way it carries over to defense. Me and Coach Holcomb, when he got there, he goes, he would have offensive practice and then, all right, you got 15 minutes on defense. So, but no, it was good, but I think for our guys, last year was the beginning of it. We really didn't get into much of the option on that. We was really, focusing on the zone dives and the traps. But this year, man, they soaked it up because this is this option it's not like the old school. Remember the Titans veer. It's a lot of different tags. It's just like a spread offense. Instead of tagging a route, now you're tagging blocks.
Yeah.
And it's based on what the defense does. So we worked in and do a no huddle and we line up and our guys have really on it and figured it out and said, man, this is all right. And 415 yards rushing and 400 yards a game, and that's not too bad.
Pretty good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Just a side note, did you run this past Coach Holcomb that you was going to run that ball instead of throwing it? Did he what did he say?
Oh, absolutely. He goes, well, now when I was at Breathitt County in the 80s, we ran the ball. We were not.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That is. I would scout him in the mid-'90s when he was at Breathitt. And it's like he would be in that shotgun. He would get up 3 or 4 touchdowns, and it's like putting a genie back in the bottle. He was back under center in the eye, run 3 or 4 plays, get the game over, and go home. But it would be fun to scout him. You know, speaking of Mike, you know, you're an assistant for Larry French and Mike Holcomb. What's one thing that you took from each of them that you think has made you a better football coach?
Well, both of them are really good fathers and husbands. The hours that you put in as a coach, you've got to be able to understand that you've got a life outside of football, and there's people that rely on you to be there for them. And I got to see how Coach French and Coach Holcomb was with Debbie and Miss Connie. You know, when Coach Holcomb first got up there, his wife, you know, she ended up having cancer. And I really, you know, he really leaned on us coaches and pushed us. And since then, you know, I was like, man, you as a head coach, I thought he was going to come in and kind of tell us everything to do. No, he really, you know, he let the coaches coach, and so that he could be with Miss Debbie throughout the week. But with Coach French, I'm not as sourpuss as he is. The guy's falling with him all the time. Yeah. Oh, you call him up, he's terrible. I go, what's wrong? He goes, oh, we won't be able to stop him. Oh, and he wins 40-something nothing. I go, what happened? He goes, you know, our guys just must have had a good lunch. I don't know. But no.
Hey, I was going to say, you know why he's so sour? It's PTSD from when I played quarterback for him. He's never got over it. It was so tough.
He cracks me up. He would crack me up. And I know I've been on the phone when he's talking to you on the phone. He'd go, you know, there was some of those quarterbacks would come to your camps and stuff, and I know he's just ripped, but he'd go, we're going to have to deprogram them when they get back.
That's him. He got that from Raymond Webb. I know where that came from.
But but toughness from Coach French. You know, he's all about doing it the right way. You know, both of them I found is like I like to be really organized. So I remember the first, you know, time being down there at Southwestern, I really organized practice down 5 minutes and boom, boom. And then Coach French goes, well, if we get time to get to that, but if we can't block our field goal, we're going to be there all day.
That's him. That's him.
But no, that you know, with Coach Holcomb, with Coach French bringing me on at Boyle County, he really exposed me to meeting some great coaches with Jeff Hester and Chris Mason. I tell you what, Chris Mason elevated mine. You know, I've got so many coaches that I, you know, on top of Coach Holcomb that I really admire, but Chris Mason, man, he put me over the top because he really taught me more about fundamentals and techniques and teaching about that offensive line. And that's what, I'm forever indebted to him. That changed me a lot in the way I do things. And then Jeff Hester, you know, his ability to connect with kids, that was awesome. That whole experience over there. I mean, here's the staff that I was on. I was with Coach French, Chris Mason, Jeff Hester, Bill Mason, Billy Goldsmith, and defense coordinator at Danville for years, Jerry Perry.
Yeah.
I'm on a staff with those guys, and I was just starstruck the whole time. I know all these guys, and you know, from my past as a player, you know, going down to J-Bez camp and seeing these guys, and you know, just you know, it was just awesome, and that was probably one of the greatest experiences. And so, like, that's one of the things I get on to my young coaches. Like, they talk about being a head coach. I go, I mean, go find it. You know, after you work here, don't make a lateral move, but build yourself up. You know, learn more. Don't just pigeonhole you sometimes. Yeah. But then with Coach Holcomb, man, I learned how to be a maverick. That, you know, that was one of the things I go for. We do things, crazy things. You know, I'm all about fakes and trick plays and things of that nature. And Coach Holcomb, I mean, he's one of those other guys like Coach Hart. Be different, you know. And I really that was fun, and he made it. He was a lot more fun to coach with. He would laugh, get me. He'd get me tickled during the games. Now I got fired twice in one game by Larry though. They went hard down the throat. So he fired me after they fired me after they scored. And he looks at the AD. He goes, "You got a check?" He goes, "Nope." He goes, "Well, he better get his act straightened out right here."
Hey, talk about those coaches. We did the All-Star team in 2005. Billy Goldsmith and Coach French were on our staff together, and they roomed together. They were roommates. Oh, God. And anyway, they love to tell the story. They just got the lights out. And so they're in there, and Billy looks up, and I guess the students, they put those little stars up on the ceiling. And Billy's like, "Larry, there's stars on the ceiling." Coach French is like, "Billy, the lights are out. It's time to go to sleep." He didn't want to hear none of that. He's ready to go to bed.
Oh my God! I can't go without talking about Coach Larkey.
Yeah.
So Coach Larkey, we always called him the silent general. He was never a very big voice or anything like that, but when he spoke, we listened. But something I've carried over is that rock toughness in the weight room, and that's that weight room. That is what changes your program. I 100% believe in that. And so Coach Larkey, he pushed that weight room and keeping it simple and understanding that you're playing for your community, and that's what I'm trying to with some of these kids. All these kids, all the individuality and things like that. Going back to this offense, it's not just a quarterback just doesn't get to pick who he gives the ball to. It's based on a read. They have to work together and come together. It's not about individualism. And Coach Larkey was great about the community. And Coach Holcomb and Coach French, they're all about that. And so if there's anything I've learned, and I tell these young guys that are, what I'm learning and continuing is you got to be in your community. You got to understand what's going on, and they got to know who you are too. So when you want something or need something, they know it's genuine. It's just not for a pony show.
He only shows up when he wants something. You got to watch out for that. Absolutely.
Yeah. William, you've been a great guest, and you got your team off to a good start. Get ready to hit the playoffs. We wish you all the luck in the world, and keep on keeping on.
Well, I'm excited. We're going into this. Knock on wood. You always want to go healthy, and I'm excited to play another Hall of Fame coach with Coach Wallace on Thursday night. Man, he's got a team. Yeah. He does such a great job. And so that's what this is a great. This is the time of year. My wife, she goes, the cold weather and the dreary. I go, I love it. This is my favorite time of year.
Yeah, that's right.
She'd rather be sunny, 90 degrees. So.
Yeah.
Well, man, I'm excited for you, and you've done a great job, and there's awful good things ahead for you. It's going to be super. Great job, William.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Part of the show, of course, is our tough topic. We have another good question. It's from Bruin 66 off of Bluegrass Preps. Guys going both ways. How do you set up practice through the week?
Well, we're going to hit all three phases, all 4 days. Monday is pump block. One thing that we've added, and we do it by position. They're not very long periods, but every week we sort of fix the biggest problem from the past Friday, and then we look at what's the number one thing we got to do this week to have success. And we do that both sides of the ball. We'll go perimeter, team offense, team defense. We'll also spend a little more time defensive install. On Tuesday, we do punt, kickoff, and kickoff return first. That's more of a defensive day. We'll do a lot of defensive individual and group, team defense, and we do a lot of third and fourth and short team defense on Tuesday, and then we come back and hit it hard on Wednesday as well. Offense, we'll do perimeter. We'll do an inside drill, And then also on Tuesday, the last thing that practice is, at least on the field, is we'll do what we call wind drill. We put the ball on the 20 and we practice scoring, which we were really struggling scoring last week on Tuesday and Wednesday. We put the ball on the 20 and we practiced scoring against 12 guys because we had to get better at that. We were just really bad and needed to get better. Wednesday will be PAT, block, and then we'll also do our goal line defense, our base defense, third and fourth and short down. We'll do perimeter and inside-outside drill on offense. We'll do team offense, and when things are good, we'll go up and down the field. And that way we work the whole field and we work the red zone. But again, I think this week we're going to work really hard on the red zone scoring against 12 people because we've got to get better. When we're struggling, but we've been better 20-20, and we're not finishing drives. So we're going to try to work hard on finishing drives. On Thursday, we'll play a scripted game. We get that done. Our defense is going to review all their stunts, tendencies, main sets. Offense, we do a lot of situational stuff in offense, but we work that into the perimeter stuff, team offense, inside drill. We try to work all of that into the normal parts of offense, whereas on defense, a specific third, fourth down period. Tuesday video is third and fourth down defense. We do it, then we go watch it. Wednesday, we'll video the team offense from the end zone and end zone drill or inside drill, and then we'll have huddle notes, either send them out, and if I don't feel good about the guys watching them, then we're going to watch those. We're going to watch Wednesday's video on Thursday before practice. So it's a lot that's got to be organized if you're going to have a play in both ways because there's just a lot of little details you got to hit. And but as you said, we don't have the luxury of saying, okay, what you got to watch is this. Even if you can divide it up 11 and 11, you don't want to be in a situation where, your ninth best offensive lineman is starting. You want your sixth or your seventh one. So you got to be able to rotate kids. And I think that's one of the lost arts of coaching a smaller team is I think how you rotate players and how you manage that, I think it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is. It's a real big deal. And I don't know if I have a whole lot to add, to what you just said. You were pretty thorough and pretty detailed and obviously have put a lot of thought in the organization and structure of practicing guys both ways. As I said earlier, and I'll say again, I just never had that luxury of having enough quality guys to platoon. I don't even know if I would know how to set up a platoon practice because my whole career has been playing kids both ways. You got to play your key players. You don't want to force a platoon if you have a great player that's only playing half of the game. Because you are insistent upon platooning. I don't think that would be smart, not at the high school level. And we do basically, or I did basically kind of what you did. I focus on one side of the ball on Monday, but still practice the other side of the ball. They don't get as much time. And then you flip that, on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, you just kind of split the time, even offensive defense. They both get some, some individual, and then they get some teamwork. I think it's hard on high school kids to, if you want to skip a day, like, all right, say on offense, on Monday, it's all offense, no defense. And then on Tuesday, it's all defense, no offense. So they skip the day. I think it's hard on high school kids to kind of get any kind of timing and continuity, but by skipping a day. So I never believed in that. I always had to hit a little bit every single day of the week. I just think you got to touch both offensive defenses 4 days a week. And I think that's what you said you do as well. I know Brandon, my son Brandon at South Warren, he does a great job with this, and his practices are so much cleaner and more efficient than mine ever were. But they do a really good job of playing key players both ways, and it's really smooth. It's a smooth practice. It's no bumps in the road, and don't miss a beat.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that he does have it really well organized. I tell you, back when I was teaching, and I had to teach on Monday, and I couldn't really play and practice on a Monday because I'm teaching a full load of classes, but I still do this now. Like our game script that we have for offense, if there's a blue T next to it, that means we're going to run it in team offense Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then on the inside drill, it's a red or it's a blue 1, 2, or 3. If it's a 1, that means we're doing it on Monday and Tuesday. If it's a 2, it's Tuesday, Wednesday. If it's a 3, it's Monday, Wednesday. But that makes sure that we get it all covered. And it's like, you're just talking about being organized. If you're really going to try to do this and do it the best that you can, I think it requires a lot of structure and a lot of preparation. And I will say something else too, and I think part of this goes back to, for me, 5A has been a different animal from anything I saw at Mercer or Mason or Paris, especially my district. It is tough. And one thing that I'm starting to realize too is, I might think in terms of, okay, I want to have one O-line and one D-line, but personally, I think it's more physically demanding to play on the defensive line the way that we play, to attack and squeeze and cross face and get into the line of scrimmage. So, not only have I got guys playing both ways, I've got to be strategic about, okay, that may be my starter at defensive tackle, but he's played 8 snaps in a row against a really good O-line. I got to give him a spell with 2 or 3 snaps from a good offensive lineman and then get him back in there. And, I'm like you. I only know how to do guys playing both ways, but I just think there's a lot of little details that they're exhausting but you've really got to try to handle it, because you just can't turn it loose and let it happen.
No, I know. To speak on what you talked about, putting notes by your plays, I would do the same thing on defense. I'd put a star by a play that they run quite a bit of time, so we would rep that every day. Excuse me, and the ones that didn't have a star, we'd hit that maybe once or twice during the week, and to make sure we got everything covered. But it takes a lot of time to do those types of things. Obviously, I don't think I was as detailed as you are. You're pretty. I
think it works out. Well, I mean, obviously you were, and you won 6 state titles, but also though too, I do the offense for us, so that makes it a little different. I mean, I would think Chris Mason and Chris Pardue were doing that similar type of planning back when they worked for you, and I just, and it's funny, we joke about this, but it's like you'll tease me about how I can pick the state championship games, but I've never won a state championship. Well, that's because my brain can never stop. I've always got to keep working. You've had 6 times. You could X7. You can exhale and say, hey, I can relax a little bit because you all won. So, you just always looking for a little thing that you can do that might make you a little bit better. And, we're still I text you a question the other night to get some help. And we put in a couple things today we've never done in 33 years. But I sort of like that. I like that. I feel like we're continuing to evolve, improve. I don't want our team – I still want to be disciplined and play hard and sound, yes. But I'm okay if we look different than what we looked like 5 years ago. That's not all bad. And, it's the other thing, too. That's why I like doing this podcast. I mean, every week I'm talking football with you. I'm talking football with one of the best coaches in Kentucky. I mean, it's really been good to push me and make me evaluate what we're doing in life. So, Anyway, I've said enough about that. But.
Well, that's why you're as good as you are. You're always willing, open to learn more, and never being satisfied with what you know. You want the best, and that says a lot for a coach right there.
Well, when you're getting your teeth kicked in, you got a little extra motivation to get better. Just tell the truth.
Well, you're in a program where you gotta crawl before you walk. So you're pretty low, and you got to build it up.
Hey, but I'm telling you, we're better than it looks. We really are. And I know you and my family, y'all not sure what to think when I say that, but I'm telling you, I think we're closer than it looks like we are. I really do. But enough about that.
Let's switch gears and let's head over to the games of the week. We got two pretty good ones. We got first game is Bowling Green and Franklin County, and it's at Franklin County. Pretty good game. You have Franklin, I have Bowling Green.
Yes, Eddie James is their head coach, who also is a Boyle County guy. He was there with you, 9-0 right now. They got a sophomore quarterback, Knox Barrett. He's already thrown for over 2,000 yards and 25 touchdowns. That's pretty dang impressive. Jacob Taylor and Delano Collins lead the team in receiving. Jacob Olds leads the team in defense with 98 tackles. Shalom Moore and Delano Collins again lead the team in interceptions. Collins has got 3, Moore's got 5. So, they're having a big season. And, hey, Eddie's going out there. But Eddie's done such a good job. He probably can't find a whole lot of games. He probably almost had to play Bowling Green because he's done a super job. He really has.
He has. He's done a real good job. And when you do a good job, it's hard to get games. You got to do a little traveling. And I guess either he returned it or he went to Bowling Green last year, or he's got to go next year. I haven't kept up. But I've got Bowling Green. Their head football coach is Mark Spader. And they're currently 4-5, but don't let that record fool you. They lost their first 5 out of 6 against a really, really tough schedule. Most people really have kind of wrote them off in the state championship conversation because of that rough start that they had. They didn't realize it was against very good competition. I wouldn't advise that. I would not advise them. I wouldn't advise to write them off. They are still Bowling Green. They know how to win it. They've been there the last 3 years. They've won it twice over the last 3 years. They just know how to. They know how to do it. And they got some really good players. They happen to be young players, but they got some really good players. Their quarterback this year is Anthony Davis, and excuse me, and he's they made the switch at quarterback. Maybe after the third game, I don't remember, but they made the switch from an older guy to the young freshman, and they're riding it out with the young freshman, and he's getting better every single game. Anthony Davis, as I said, they got a stable full of running backs. Montravion Graham is kind of their key guy, but they got several running backs, and the key to this football team this year is this wide receiver Trevi Barber. He's the real deal. He was hurt earlier in the year. He's been back. He is the guy that can be a difference maker. He can be they get him the ball, and he's going to do something with the ball. He's really, really good. As I said, I wouldn't count. This is a non-classification game. In other words, Bowling Green is 5A and Franklin County is 4A. So it doesn't have anything to do with the ranking or anything like that. It's just a class game. But I'm telling you, don't count Bowling Green out. 5A has not proven they're that strong this year to begin with. And the best teams seem to be in your district, but overall, top to bottom, they're not that strong. I wouldn't count Bowling Green out in the state championship conversation just yet. I actually think that Bowling Green will beat Franklin County this Friday.
I got you. I'm going to disagree with you. I think Franklin County's going to get them. I think Bowling Green's absolutely trending upward, and I think in November there'll be a different cap. But I just think right now Franklin County, I still think just got an edge on them. So, all right. So
Okay.
next we got Sayre and Middlesboro. So why don't you go first on Sayre?
Yeah. And Sayre is their head football coach is Chad Pennington. He lost. He's 8-1 currently. He lost a really close game to KCD, and KCD was one of the top teams in Single A this year, and he lost a close game to them. They are the defending state champions, David. Defending state champions. So they got a really good team, a really good program. Coach Pennington has done a wonderful job there. This is just going to be a great way to end the regular season. What a great game. These two guys, is it possible that these two teams could meet again for the state championship? Is it possible?
Yes.
I think it could. I think both of them are that good. Sayre has got a new quarterback. It's still a Pennington. I think this one is Gage Pennington. The older one graduated last year, led his team to a state championship. He's been putting up impressive numbers. So he's chipped off the old block, falling right in line with the rest of them, including Dad. Caden Jones leads the way with the rushing game. And the receivers, the top targets have been not Caden Jones again and Jackson Stewart. So Sayre is a really, really, good football team. Obviously, they're the defending state champ, and that's who I'm going with in this game. Even though we're playing against Larry, but I'm still going with Sayre. Somebody's got to beat them before I pick against them.
I got you. Well, I've got Middlesboro, coached by Larry French, who was my high school coach. I'm always very proud to say that. They're 8-0. Hey, he's got a nice quarterback, Deacon Parton. He's thrown for almost 1,400 yards. I think he's a junior, 21 touchdowns, thrown one interception. Joseph Killian, Mickey Young, and Amari Houston lead the wide receiving corps. And then their defense is led by Colby Lawson and Colt Bayless. They're leading their defense right now in tackles. I tell you what, over the years, and look, Chad Pennington's a great football coach. And I've helped Chad his quarterback camps. I think a lot of Chad. He's a good man and a good football coach. But I'm still drinking that Larry French Kool-Aid going back to 1986. I just seen him win so many games where before the game he talks like it's going to be a running clock by the beginning of the first quarter, and then somehow they win. And they're playing at Middlesboro.
They're playing at home.
I'll say this. If they were playing at Sayre, I think I would pick Sayre. And I still think I think Sayre's probably a pretty good favorite in this game, and it's not being sentimental. Coach French is in my head that I'm just used to Coach French figuring out a way to do something. And I just got a feeling they're going to do it again. I just think so.
You're picking Middlesboro.
Yes, I'm picking Middlesboro.
Okay, let's go. You're pretty good at it, at picking teams. As we're going to go to our rapid fire segment here. Last week you were 7 out of 10, of course, and that's below your average. You're usually 80%. That's 70%. Yeah. And listen to this, David. Listen to mine. I was 1 out of 10.
Oh my goodness.
I got to get smarter and start picking the same one that you pick. I don't know why.
Anyway, but here, I've been trying to copy you for 40 years. I still can't win a state championship. I haven't got one yet. But anyway.
So you're still hitting 73 out of 94, about 78% for the year. I'm 52 out of 94, about 55% of the year. I'm not going to win any money in Vegas at all. Now, let's go to this week's games. And I've got some good ones lined up.
This week 10, there are a lot of good games. There's a bunch of them. Yeah, I agree.
A lot of good games. All right, first one up is Franklin Simpson and Glasgow.
Glasgow.
That's who I'm going with as well. Glasgow hasn't lost a game, I don't think. I think they're undefeated so far. How about this one? Holy Cross out of Covington and Bellevue.
Holy Cross.
I'm going to go with Bellevue. I honestly don't know anything about either one of them, but I wanted to get a Northern Kentucky team up. How about Madison Central and St. X? We just talked to the Madison
I
Central
know it.
football coach.
Hey, both great coaches. I just think St. X has got more firepower, but I will say I won't be surprised to see Madison Central win a 6A state title. I know that's a reach to say something like that, but Williams sort of got that Larry French mojo going, and he's really good at these tip-offs now. But anyway, hey, I'm going to go St. X this week.
I'm going to go with St. X as well. I just think St. X is really good when they got their quarterback. Know, when the quarterback was out, they didn't do real well, but he is a Mr. Football kind of guy, the quarterback.
Yes, he is. He is a candidate. Absolutely.
Next one, how about this one? Lynn Camp and Clay County.
Man, I'm struggling on these. I'm going to go Clay County.
Clay County?
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm going to go with Clay County as well. And again, I don't know anything about either one of them. How about, listen to this. This is a good one here. Atherton and North Odom.
That is a good one. I think Atherton's going to be, I think Atherton will have a little bit of the edge, but I tell you what, Brock Roberts, who we had him on our show, Brock is killing it. He is making this head coach stuff look easy. He's doing a really good job.
Who'd you pick?
Atherton.
Atherton. I thought you don't get on that fence again. Well, I tell you what, I'm going with North Odom.
There you
Last
go.
time I picked North Odom, they upset South Odom. I'm picking North Odom again.
Yeah.
Here we go. Boyle versus Frederick Douglass. Whoa.
Goodness gracious. That is a tough one. I think I'm going to go Douglas on this one.
What?
Yep.
You know who I've got to go with.
I know it.
I know Nathan McPeak gets mad at me every time I pick against him, but I got to go with Boyle just because
sure.
That's who I am, right?
Sure.
How about Bryan Station and South Odom?
I'm going to go with Bryan Station.
Well, man, you were all over that bandwagon of South Odom earlier in the year, and now you got jumped off that bandwagon.
It's not that but I think South Odom's got a good football team. I really do, but Bryan Station becomes a different animal in November. They just do, and it's Halloween. I think Bryan Station's peaking, and I think South's got a nice team. I just think Bryan Station will get them.
Well, I'm picking South Odom. You said they were all that beginning of the year, so
they are. They are really good. Hey, you're talking about how tough our district is. Collins was beating Woodford at halftime of their game, and Woodford they are the real deal. I mean, I saw them Friday night, but that's how good our district is. Collins, who I think came in third, they were beating what is the number one 5A team in the state at halftime. It's a tough district. It is. Good team.
All right. How about Mayo and Manual? Whew.
I'm going to go Manual.
Yeah. Manual has done really well. Mayo is turning on, though. They are turning. But I can't. I just think Manual's got that running back. I mean, he is the real.
That was one thing where I helped Kevin. I didn't understand how good Manual was. I'm not sure Manual's not the best coaching job in Kentucky. Yeah. I think it is a great place. A great place.
Nice facilities. How about McCracken and Graves County? It's out west. Let's go out west here. McCracken.
Man, I'm going to go McCracken. I think they made me pay last week when I picked Henderson.
Yeah.
I'm going to go McCracken.
I'm going to pick McCracken as well. And the last one here is a nice one. It's Pulaski and Bell County.
Man. I tell you what, it's sort of the quarterback deal like with St. X. I don't think Pulaski's going to get their quarterback back, so I probably would give the edge to Bell County.
And it's at Bell County, too.
Yeah.
But you know what? I tell you what, I know they don't have their quarterback, but I'm going with Travis Burns and Pulaski.
Well, sure. They still got a really good team.
Yeah. But it makes a difference when you don't have your starting quarterback. I don't care.
I know it. I know it sure does.
That's all we got. That's it. So we'll
Well-
see how that turns out. You're hot. You've been on the roll, hitting 78 to 80%. Wow. I mean, that's really good, David.
I wish my play calling could match my game picks. Then we might have something. Then we might have. I got to try to translate picking ball games to calling plays. I got a lot of work to do.
Okay. Hey, what do you got for next week?
Hey, I'm excited about it. Hey, South Oldham, the guy that put them on the map, Jamie Reed, is our guest next week. He's now the head coach at Oldham County. And our tough topic is from Dan Geiga, and this is another Bluegrass Press one. Late in the season, pending playoff run versus a season inning, it's tough. How do you handle that? How do you handle if you're looking at a playoff run? How do you handle it if things are tough and your season's ending? And so we'll talk about those two things. And we'll look at it. And I tell you what, for a long time, it was like, just not making the playoffs was just.
We'll see you next week.